You're about to relive the most unbelievable comebacks in the history of the UEFA Champions League. In this video, we're re-diving into the top 10 most jaw-dropping turnarounds of all time. The moments that made stadiums erupt and proved that in soccer, it's never over until the final whistle. We're counting them down from number 10 all the way to number 1, so stick around until the end, because that top spot will give you chills. Ready? Turn up the volume, and let's get into this epic journey. 10 Ajax 2-3 Tottenham in the first leg. Ajax shocked everyone with a 1-0 win in London, playing with their signature fearless, high-tempo football. Back home in Amsterdam, they quickly extended their aggregate lead to 3-0 by halftime, with goals from Matthijs de Ligt and Hakim Ziyech. The Johan Cruyff Arena was erupting. Ajax. Fans were already dreaming of their first final since 1996, but then came a seismic shock. Lucas Moura, in the performance of his life, ignited an unforgettable second-half comeback. His first goal came from a quick counterattack, the second in a chaotic scramble in the box. And the third, the one that made history, came in the 95th minute. With the last kick of the game, a low left-footed strike into the bottom corner, pandemonium. Moura's hat-trick, all within 39 minutes. Didn't just send Spurs to their first-ever Champions League final. Broke the hearts of a sensational Ajax team that had already eliminated Real Madrid and Juventus. This wasn't just a comeback. It was a cinematic explosion of emotion, timing, and destiny. #9, Real Madrid 3-1 Manchester City. With just 1 minute left on the clock, Madrid were on the verge of elimination. Trailing City 5-3 on aggregate after Mahrez had scored a thunderbolt in the 73rd minute. Pep Guardiola's side looked in total control, composed, confident, and counting down the seconds to another final. But the Santiago, once again, became a theater of the impossible. In the 90th minute, Rodrigo headed in from close range after a cross by Benzema. Less than 90 seconds later, he did it again. This time with a stunning flicked header that left Ederson frozen. In 2 minutes, the tie was turned on its head. The Madrid bench exploded. The crowd lost its mind, and City looked like they'd seen a ghost. The game went into extra time, and just 5 minutes in, Benzema was fouled in the box. Calm as ever, he stepped up and buried the penalty. Madrid, 3-1 on the night, 6-5 on aggregate. This wasn't just a comeback, it was a spiritual experience. Real Madrid's 14th Champions League crown felt inevitable after this night. It's cold, ruthless, mystical. This was Champions League DNA in its purest form. Number 8, Deportivo La Coruña, 4-0 AC Milan, after a crushing 4-1 defeat in San Siro. Deportivo returned home knowing they needed nothing less than a football miracle, standing in their way. A Milan side brimming with legends, Maldini, Cafu, Nesta, Pirlo, Shevchenko, a squad so stacked it felt unfair. But that night at the Riser, Deportivo turned into giants. In a whirlwind first half, they obliterated Milan's defense with goals from Pondioni and Luke leveling the aggregate before halftime. Then, in the second half, a deflected strike from Fran sealed the unthinkable. 4-0 on the night, 5-4 on aggregate. It wasn't just the scoreline, it was the way they played. Fast, fearless, clinical. Milan, the reigning champions, looked lost, disoriented, and utterly dismantled. The Spanish crowd erupted into chaos, witnessing what remains one of the most dominant second-leg performances in UCL history. Deportivo didn't just win, they overwhelmed greatness. A comeback that wasn't just about goals, but about heart, hunger, and historic defiance. Number 7, Roma 3-0 Barcelona. Barca arrived in Rome with a 4-1 first-leg advantage, already seeing themselves in the semi-finals. With Messi, Iniesta, and a squad full of champions, it looked like a formality. But Roma had other ideas, and a burning belief. In a night charged with raw emotion, Edin Dzeko opened the scoring early, lighting the first spark. Then came Daniel De Rossi, the Roman warrior, converting a penalty with ice-cold precision to make it 2-0. Suddenly, it was game on. With just 8 minutes left, Kostas Manolas, the Greek center-back, rose like a Titan II head in the third, sending the Stadio Olimpico into absolute chaos. 3-2-0 Roma, 4-4 on aggregate. Roma advance on away goals. The bench cleared, the crowd erupted, and even the players looked in disbelief. This was not just a win, it was a footballing miracle. Roma, with a fraction of Barcelona's budget and star power, outplayed, outworked, and outwilled the giants of Europe. A comeback for the ages. Pure passion, relentless pressing, and a night that became legend. Number 6 Barcelona, 6-1 PSG. This is the comeback that redefined what's possible in football. After being thrashed 4-0 in Paris, Barcelona were staring at the exit. No team in Champions League history had ever come back from a 4-goal deficit. But at the Camp Nou, history was about to be rewritten. Luis scored early, followed by an own goal from Kurzawa, and then a penalty from Messi made it 3-0. The dream was alive. But when Cavani struck for PSG in the 62nd minute, making it 3-1, Barcelona suddenly needed 3 more goals with less than 30 minutes left. Most thought it was over. But then came Neymar, first with a stunning free kick in the 88th, then converting a penalty in the 91st. Still needing one more time was running out, until the 95th minute when Neymar floated a perfect pass into the box and Sergi Roberto stabbed it home. 6-1 Barcelona. 6-5 on aggregate. The stadium exploded. The world watched in disbelief. The remontada wasn't just a comeback. It became a symbol of the impossible becoming real. A night of chaos, magic, and raw footballing emotion that fans will never forget. Number 5, Liverpool 4-0 Barcelona, coming into Anfield down 3-0 on aggregate. And without key stars Mohamed Salah and Roberto Firmino, Liverpool's chances looked bleak. With Messi and a full-strength squad had already humiliated them in the first leg. But what happened that night in Liverpool was nothing short of sporting legend. From the first whistle, Klopp's men played with an intensity that shook the ground. Divock Origi opened the scoring early, sparking belief. In the second half, Jorginho Wijnaldum, who had just come off the bench, struck twice in 2 minutes, leveling the tie in the blink of an eye. Then came the moment that defined this epic. In the 79th minute, Trent Alexander-Arnold, acting on pure instinct, took a quick corner that caught the entire Barca defense asleep. Origi finished it with a first-time strike. 4-0 Liverpool, 4-3 on aggregate. The crowd roared with a force that echoed across Europe. Barcelona, who had collapsed spectacularly the year before against Roma, were stunned once again. Liverpool didn't just win, they demolished a giant through heart, hunger, and brilliance. This wasn't just Anfield. This was a fortress of miracles. Number 4, Chelsea 4-1. Napoli entered the second leg riding high after a dominant 3-1 win in Naples, led by a dangerous trio of Cavani, Lavezzi, and Chelsea, on the other hand, were in chaos. Their manager had just been sacked, and former player Roberto Di Matteo was placed in charge as interim. But when the lights came on at Stamford Bridge, something shifted. The crowd was roaring with desperation and belief. Didier Drogba struck first with a powerful header, setting the tone for a war of wills. Then came John Terry, who made it 2-0 and leveled the tie on away goals. Napoli fought back and had chances, but Chelsea's experience and grit began to take over. After a Napoli handball, Frank Lampard buried a high-pressure penalty to make it 3-1, forcing extra time. Then, in the 105th minute, Branislav Ivanovic smashed home the decisive goal after a slick move, sending the stadium into an explosion of emotion. Final score, 4-1 Chelsea, 5-4 on aggregate. That night was indeed just about advancing. It was the spark that ignited a legendary title run, as Chelsea went on to defy the odds and lift their first ever Champions League trophy. It all began with this gritty, glorious fight back. Number 3, Monaco, 3-1 Real Madrid. Real Madrid came into the second leg with a 4-2 advantage, led by their legendary lineup of Zidane, Figo, Ronaldo, Beckham, and when scored a brilliant goal in the 36th minute, making it 5-2 on aggregate. The tie seemed completely out of reach, but Monaco didn't flinch. Instead, they responded with grit, fire, and a sense of destiny. Right before halftime, Ludovic Giuli pulled one back, slicing through Madrid's defense with a quick finish that reignited hope. Then came the twist of fate that felt like a football movie script. Fernando Morientes. On loan from Real Madrid and not expected to even play a major role, rose to head in Monaco's second and didn't celebrate. But the goal hit Madrid like a dagger. At 2-1, Monaco needed just one more, and in the 66th minute, Juli struck again with a clever flick past Casillas. Final score: 3-1 Monaco, 5-5 on aggregate. But Monaco advanced on away goals. Real Madrid were stunned. Kings of Europe were out, undone by their own former striker and a team no one saw coming. This was poetic justice, tactical brilliance, and raw emotion, the kind of night that reminds the world why we love the Champions League. Number 2, Manchester United 2-1 Bayern Munich. For 90 minutes, Bayern Munich were champions. Leading 1-0 since the 6th minute thanks to a Mario Basler free kick, they had hit the post to control the pace, and were already tying ribbons on the trophy. Even the UEFA officials had started engraving Bayern's name, but football had other plans. In the dying seconds of stoppage time, Manchester United, without their midfield duo of Keane and Scholes, pulled off a miracle for the ages. First, a David Beckham corner caused chaos. The ball fell to Teddy Sheringham, and he slotted in the equalizer in the 91st minute. The Bayern players were stunned, but it got worse. Just 2 minutes later, another Beckham corner was flicked on by Sheringham into the path of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who stabbed the ball into the roof of the net. 2-1, game over. Treble complete. From despair to delirium in under 120 seconds. The Bayern players collapsed to the ground, hearts broken. Sir Alex Ferguson, in shock and awe, uttered the immortal words, "Football, bloody hell." It wasn't just a comeback. It was the greatest final twist in Champions League history, a moment that defined an era and made legends eternal. #1. AC Milan 3-2-3 Liverpool. This wasn't just a comeback, it was a football resurrection. In the 2005 Champions League final in Istanbul, AC Milan stormed to a 3-0 lead by halftime, putting on a first-half masterclass with goals from Maldini in the first minute and a brace from Crespo. The second, assisted by an outrageous pass. Milan were untouchable, elegant, ruthless. It felt like a coronation. Liverpool looked broken, their fans silenced. But then, in the second half, came 6 minutes of pure football chaos. Steven Gerrard sparked hope with a powerful header in the 54th minute. Smicer followed up 2 minutes later with a low drive, and then a penalty rebound finished by Xabi Alonso made it 3-3. The unthinkable had happened. In just over 5 minutes, Liverpool had erased a 3-goal deficit against one of the greatest club sides ever assembled. The game dragged into extra time, and somehow, Liverpool held firm, thanks in part to Jerzy Dudek's miracle double save against Shevchenko. In the penalty shootout, Dudek's heroics continued, saved twice including the final spot kick from Shevchenko, and sealed Liverpool's 5th European crown. The miracle of Istanbul became the most iconic comeback in Champions League history, a night when belief defied logic and legends were forged in fire. It wasn't just a football match, it was a story that will be told forever. If you enjoyed this video, smash the like button, subscribe, and drop a comment telling us which comeback blew your mind the most. And if we missed any iconic ones, let us know. See you next time, Champions League lovers.